Zero in the house, and today we're gonna have a look at my CM battles with a very interesting team. So as you can see, I have Dwayne, which is acting as my pseudo tank. I've got Tidus, which is pretty much gonna be my damage dealer and haste, and we have Zazan, which is supposed to be our charmer and buffer. Now, what we wanted to do here was to have Zazan getting hasted as soon as possible, so that then he would have been able to reach the enemy and charm them as fast as possible. Now, in the specific team, what do we have? We have two Quickeners, which is pretty interesting in terms of the opponent's team. And we have Yuna, which would also act as a healer and also a very decent damage dealer. And I believe that Gilgamesh was gonna also deal some damage. Yeah, so here we can see that I made one of my first mistakes, which was not keeping Zazan back. He pretty much tried to go for the kill or for the charm, but he moved before the opponent's units and resulted in him getting bodied. So that definitely worked against, not in my favor. The other problem that I noticed with this composition a bit later on was that my two damage dealers have really low jump, so they are forced to circumvent the map if they want to deal damage. And in a situation where we want to get the win as quickly as possible, that's not really favorable unless we plan to get the enemies to get close to us, and then when they're in range of our slash attacks, then they get one shot quite easily. This will be quite useful when the enemies are able to navigate the map easier than us and then try to cast an attack, because then during their cast time we could just body them. Now here we saw Gilgamesh do a very interesting AoE attack on us, but then Tidus responded with his limit break, and now Yuna responds with her limit break, which luckily missed Tidus but bodied our Dwayne. I can see that the enemy is playing manually, and yeah, things didn't work really well for us. I mean, I did expect Gilgamesh to quicken, but he acted as a damage dealer. He had all of his damage skills pretty much used by the opponent. I would have used this team a bit differently, but it worked out for him. Anyway, second battle. Here I moved Zazan into a different position because I wanted to slow him down in regards to attacking the enemy. So I wanted him to buff the team and then start making his move towards the enemy. But this didn't really work out to the way I wanted. Here, my units, Dwayne and Tidus, moved before Zazan, and they moved up the hill, which is a behavior that I did not expect, I must admit. Nonetheless, this was a better move than I expected because it did slow everyone down from advancing. So this also leads to my units moving together and slowly. And in a situation where the enemy has an AoE attack that is susceptible for my units, then I think that would be pretty much game. Now, I can see that the opponent is also playing manually. I guess the vast majority of players that are in diamond rank will play manually. They take this very seriously. Now, I am not here to say that I don't take this seriously. I take this seriously, but I want to play in a different way. I want to make sure that my team can play and be viable in auto as well. Now, what we notice here is a very crucial event, which is Zazan didn't go for the charm. He went for healing, and then he used Shadowcast. That, I think, will be quite significant because he did have a chance to go forward to the enemy and charm the enemy units. And unfortunately here, Zazan still tries to heal himself, but the map and the conditions are so that everyone's heal is reduced. So the AI is doing its best to keep Zazan alive. But as we can see very shortly, his efforts were in vain. Now, I am really happy that Tidus Congo hit 2 enemies at once. I am happy to have let that skill activated. And he's tankier than I thought. I am actually happy that in this situation we got the win. Things would have gone differently um, if I hadn't planned it well. But yeah, we got the win, so that what matters. Now, in this third fight, I moved Titus back to the top as I wanted him to actually try to haste Dwayne. So let's see if that happens. So Titus moves in to haste everyone, but unfortunately my Dwayne moves away while Titus tries to cast, and that is not a behavior we wanted because, as we saw, a mage was able to reach Dwayne. And although he is our pseudo tank, we don't want him to get damaged unnecessarily. Now, I didn't understand Titus' behavior there as to why he keeps moving on the side. I would have expected him to move diagonally, but that didn't happen. And yeah, as you saw there, Zazan moved too early, and that made him susceptible to getting one shot. That definitely turned the tides of the battle in a different way that I would have wanted to go. And what do we have here? Okay, we are lucky that the opponent's Ildira, he didn't disable her heals. So in a situation where she could have dealt damage to us, she's actually too preoccupied in healing her team. Now this can be prove beneficial for us. Okay, so we already procced his courage, and that means that he goes down next hit. Okay, Titus tries to heal, although he's low health. Kind of blocks Dwayne from moving any further, and that results in his death, unfortunately. Now, what I expected happen here is my Titus was on level 120, so due to the fact that his abilities and level weren't to the max, he went down easier than my enemies. Now, this is the fourth battle, and I tried to change the TMRs around. I wanted to keep the Zam back and try to heal as much as possible, but I retained the same formation. Now, I can see that here the opponent's team is a bit unusual. We haven't seen Kane in a long time, and Howlett is definitely a very interesting choice for class matches around this time around. That is because we do have a lot of ice units, such as, what's his name, Aaron. But what worked for us is finally Zazan stayed back. He actually uses Cecil's TMR, and that kept him in the back lines. That is great. Okay, so we can see that Howlett is trying to move forward, and he gets slapped by Zazan. That is funny as, and Dwayne finishes up the job. Now it seems that we'll have a 1v1 between Titus and Kane, and very interestingly enough, Phoebe manages to revive Howlett, but Zazan again say, "Go back to sleep, mate." And Dwayne makes quick work of Phoebe. Okay, we'll see what happens here. Pretty good. He managed to do less than 50% damage, and Titus, although slowed, seems to be quite quick in regards to moving around and doing what he needs to do. Another Shadowcast. I think Shadowcast here was a good call. There was nothing else that he could have really done. And Zazan becomes the target, which is good. It keeps our Titus alive. I'm really happy that he also acted as a good bait. Now, this is where I got a bit concerned. But that concern lasted 5 seconds. So that's another win, and things went better than expected. Now, this is the fifth fight. I didn't get the beginning because my iPad has run out of space. But this is perhaps one of the quickest fights that I have done. That confusion is really strong, and I didn't expect two of my units to be getting it. And yeah, that's it. I will admit, this fight left me a bit salty. I won't lie about it. Anyway, this is day 2. I think that at this stage I did level my Titus to a higher level, and also I tried to max his abilities. So I expected him to perform a bit better. No, yeah, he's level at 118 now. So now, what did I? This is the second fight. The first fight I didn't record because I ran out of space again on my iPad. So this is the second fight. Here, we disabled Zazan's attacks, and I was hoping for Dwayne to use his Dragoon skill where he can get jump and movement +1. But that did not happen. That never happened. He never tried to use that skill. And we just saw, Dwayne moved forward and he had the chance to use it, but preferred to do nothing. From my understanding here, if I remember well, I returned Cecil's TMR to Titus. But I thought that was a bad move because I wanted Zazan to stay back. Now, that second fight ended earlier because I ran out of space again. Now, this is the third fight. And from the team's composition, I already knew that this was going to be a pretty tough fight. Grace has some extremely good resistances, and I would have expected her to have at least immunity to slash or magic. Now, what happens here? I think I also changed some VCs around and disabled some other buffs because I wanted my damage dealers to go forward as quickly as possible. Now, here we can see Dwayne doing his own thing, going on one wing, and Titus going on the other wing. But the good thing is that Zazan stays back. He stays back enough not to get killed on the first turn. But he decided to use accuracy down instead of charm. Not sure whether Yuna has charm resistance. I'll need to double check that. Now, because Dwayne was in the sky, he survived the attack, but Zazan became the target for that. Okay, I'm really happy that Titus' magic resistance is really high, but then here we confirm that Grace had maximum resistance to slash, which was not a good thing. I had hopes for Dwayne to use his other attack, his pierce attacks, to make quick work of Grace, but I think in a situation where Grace would have been on the opposite side, that could have happened. And what happened here? Yeah. Fortunately, although Titus tried to do a sneak attack, that didn't work because Grace was stronger with slash attacks, and that was it. Now, this is going to be the fourth fight. This seemed to be another really strong team. Just after looking at Gilgamesh, but then after I saw that he had both Gilgamesh and Auron EX, I expected another really hard fight. And yeah, I was also a bit surprised by the fact that the opponent went for a full ice damage dealing team. I'm not sure whether they were expecting to fight any 2Bs, because I've seen some people in multi having 2Bs to at least level 115. Okay, here we do our haste on the Zan, and I'm extremely happy that finally the Zan's charm lands on what appears to be the strongest unit in the opponent's team. Now, the opponent is fighting manually, and I can already see from the way he's moving Phoebe that he's freaking out. He doesn't know what to do. Everyone is different, but if I was in his position, I would have not I would have not been afraid of hitting my own Gilgamesh with Holy or Other Attack or Ruin. I think she has Ruin. But not doing that resulted in what eventually will occur, the opponent's demise. Now here I was very unhappy with myself that I forgot to disable Zazan's attacks. I would have preferred for Zazan to do nothing. That would have perhaps let the opponent's Gilgamesh to heal us, but nonetheless, we still made quick work of him. And this is the 5th fight for day 2. Yet again, I think I forgot to disable Zazan's attacks. This was gonna be a really hard fight because Yuna's gonna heal. She has really good heals. And they also have Warrior of Light. So I suspected that the opponent wanted to have a really defensive team. And there goes gemming attack. I really should have disabled that attack. Because the Zan went really close to the enemy and to deal the damage, but then he made himself very susceptible to being targeted, and he went down. Now, I'm pretty happy that my slash units are staying back behind the hill and doing the ranged attacks, but obviously the enemy can do the same. So after determining the slash attacks were not good against Warrior of Light, my Dwayne jumps. And that is really good because he's also going to miss Energy Ray. I think he would have dealt a lot of damage to him. Now, we make quick work of Warrior of Light. But unfortunately, my units are crumpling all together, which I think that was Congo. And yeah, I think that is pretty much the match. Now, what did I learn from these 10 fights? So first of all, I want to keep Zazan back. So what I'll do is I'll keep him in Cecil's TMR to buff the team, and keeping on a wing so that he doesn't get in range of the opponent's units. I want him to go into the center and by his first turn and buff the rest of the team. Then I'll disable Zazan's offensive skill and rely on his movement to charm enemies. And another thing I'll do is disable Dwayne's attack because I want Zazan to use his new buff, which also gives Human Killer, so that then once that's done, Dwayne can move forward. All right, guys, thank you very much for tuning in this time around. Tomorrow I will upload day 3 and day 4, and we'll see whether the changes that I've done and the things that I've put in highlights will actually help us get most of the wins. All right, I hope you guys have had really good class matches, and we'll probably see you at the next episode. You guys take care.